Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the School District of Springfield Township Board of School Directors regular board meeting, March 15th, 2016. We met in executive session prior to this meeting to discuss a litigation matter. Let's all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reading of the mission statement, Mr. Lapidus.
Thank you for the opportunity. The mission of the School District of Springfield Township is to educate and develop all students as learners and citizens who are highly achieving, resilient, and responsible in the changing global community.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Chapman. Here. Ms. Casalis.
Here.
Mr. Lapidus.
Here.
Ms. Nelson.
Here.
Mr. Rayer. Ms. Sarsfield.
Here.
Dr. Taratusky.
Here.
Mr. Taylor. Here. Ms. Lipinski.
Here. Announcements. The board, at its discretion, may videotape all or any portion of public board meetings subject to the limitations set forth in Policy 006.2, Broadcasting of Meetings. Board meetings will be broadcast on Friday afternoon following the board meeting. Are there any public comments on agenda items? Approval of minutes. February 16th, 2016, regular meeting, board minutes J. March 1st, 2016, interim meeting, board minutes K. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments? All eyes on you. Okay. All right, Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman.
Aye.
Ms. Casalis.
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus.
Aye.
Ms. Nelson.
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield.
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye.
Mr. Taylor. Aye. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Approval of Treasurer's Report. Treasurer's Report G. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman.
Aye.
Ms. Casalis.
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus.
Aye.
Ms. Nelson.
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield.
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye.
Mr. Taylor.
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Reports and information, District PTA report. I apologize, I say your name wrong every time. Naeem Moore. Thank you.
Want me to start? Good evening, everyone. As always, thanks for having us. We appreciate it. For all who don't know by now, I am co-president of the EHSP. My name is Frederick Murray, and this is my counterpart,
Naeem Moore.
And tonight we have a few items, just a few items that we wanted to present, a few events that we have coming up in April and in May of this year. The first is our, Flapjack fundraiser, which is April 16th on a Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. at the Montgomeryville Applebee's. And then the second is our Phillies Family Fun Night, which will take place on Sunday, May 1st, and it's a 2:35 p.m. game.
Our next big fundraiser after that will be the the EHSP Carnival. It's going to be on May 21st. It's going to pretty much happen as normal, but with a little bit upgrades, as we like to say. So we're getting our moon bounces, and we're getting like a trackless train, and we're actually having like a 9-hole mini golf course. We're talking about having a dunk tank, some different games like a human foosball, and tie-dye. So we hope that we'll be putting more information out. We're also having a gift basket raffle like we normally do. So we're collecting donations for that currently right now. And we're looking for sponsors. Other than that, tickets will be pre-sold, and there'll be information be coming out soon on that. And just stay tuned for more information about the carnival.
I have a
Thank you.
question.
Yes,
The Phillies game,
yes.
are the tickets limited to students at the elementary school and families, or?
So I know we're going to open it up to the elementary schools first, and within a couple weeks, we can open it up to everyone else. We bought the same amount of tickets as we did in years prior, but we never sold that many, so there shouldn't be a problem of opening it up to.
Mr. King wants to volunteer for the dunk tank.
It's fun, it's fun, it's a fun time.
Deny his water next time.
I'll spend big money for that.
So
So that's about it.
I think that's all we have. Just like to thank everyone for their continuous support, and we hope that you guys come out to one of our events or all three.
Any questions? More questions?
Thank
Thanks
you.
again.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have our student council report, Grace Hins and Nick Bond. No. Okay, so, hi.
I'm Grace Hines, and
I'm McKenna Lukens. I'm filling in for Nick.
so first thing that we're going to talk about is the Spartan junior Molly Dugan, who was recognized as Southeast Pennsylvania's top girls basketball scorer on February 14th. And in 19 games, Molly scored 411 points on average of 21.6 points per game.
That's awesome. We'd like to congratulate STHS trombonist Will Durham, who qualified for the PMEA All-State Concert Bands. Through a series of challenging auditions with the Pennsylvania Music Educators Association, Will has advanced through districts and regionals and cements his place as one of the finest high school musicians in the state. He is the first STHS instrumentalist since 2010 to advance to the all-state level, and as a result of his hard work and dedication to the study of music, he will perform at the PMEA All-State Conference in Hershey, PA during the first week of April.
Additionally, on Friday, March 4th, we held the March Madness tournament where students competed throughout the day, and the finals occurred during an all-school assembly at the end of the day in the gymnasium. This year, the sophomore team beat the juniors and the seniors, which was a first for Springfield. And between the games, the Spartan Step team, the cast of Damn Yankees, and the pep band entertained a crowded gym. And the day ended with the all-star student team beating the faculty team.
Bravo to the cast and crew of Damn Yankees. The song and dance film production thrilled the audience every night. The cast was led by seniors Dan Grogan and Ethan Steinberg as the baseball star Joe Hardy, and senior Brenna Waters and sophomore Alex Horvath as the Devil's Temptress. Over 80 students participated in the production. We would like to congratulate all the faculty members that were involved, in no particular order: Mark Kobaz, Jenny Roberts, Terry Sanavasi, David Arner, Thomas Wexler, Jenny Wexler, Chuck Gottesman, Andrew Puntel, and Marlene Thornton on a great show.
And lastly, we're excited for this Friday when we will hold the 2016 James Taylor Day, a day to celebrate differences. The half day is an exploration of diversity, and it begins in the auditorium with a multimedia production that incorporates music, stories, and sensory experiences, telling the profound story of a family from South Africa. I believe their names are pronounced Hans and Jana Villogen. A South African couple with 4 children, 3 of whom have brain injuries or learning disabilities. And they share their stories while helping others experience the world through the eyes of the differently abled. Students will learn through experiences focusing on learning differences, gender identity, religious and ethnic culture, dance, stress management techniques, and ethnic cuisine. And the day will end in the auditorium listening to the Brian Pastor Big Band featuring our very own Chuck Gottesman. Any questions?
If I may, I just want to follow up on two things that the girls mentioned. One, we are bringing, I've asked Dr. Rittenhouse to invite Will Durham to come to our next board meeting so that he can be recognized for his musicianship. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And also one more thing about the Diversity Day, Voices of Excellence will be putting on a performance in the evening on Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m. as a follow-up to the James Taylor Diversity Day. So thank you, girls, for mentioning that. That's a wonderful day of celebration for all of our students and for really recognizing all types of learners and all types of different cultures. So we appreciate the fact that you mentioned that. But I did want to point out the Voices of Excellence being here Friday night. That's bound to be a great production as well.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is reports of committees. Policy Committee, Catherine Lewis Sarsfield.
So the Policy Committee met last Wednesday, March 9th, along with Dr. Hacker at 5:30 in the Administration Building to discuss 4 new board policies. Dr. Hacker walked the committee through the new policies. They are maintaining professional adult student boundary policy, policy 824. This policy lays the groundwork for the professional, moral, and ethical relationships that adults that are employed by the district shall be expected to maintain with district students, such that these relationships are conducive to an effective, safe learning environment. This policy addresses a range of behaviors that include not only the obvious, unlawful, or improper interactions with students, but also the precursors that are grooming and other boundary-blurring behaviors that can lead to more egregious misconduct. Another policy was the Suicide Awareness, Prevention, and Response Policy, Policy 819. This policy supports federal, state, and local efforts to provide education on youth suicide awareness and prevention, establish methods of prevention, intervention, and response to suicide and suicide attempts, and to promote access to suicide awareness and prevention resources. The third policy we discussed was the Transgender and Gender Nonconforming Youth Policy, Policy 253. This policy sets out guidelines and expectations for addressing the needs of transgender and gender nonconforming students and clarifies how state and federal law should be implemented in situations where questions may arise about how to protect the legal rights or safety of such students. The goal of this policy is to ensure the safety, comfort, and healthy development of all students, but in particular the transgender or gender nonconforming student, while maximizing the student's social integration and minimizing the stigmatization of the student. The last policy we discussed was the Volunteers Policy, which is Policy 916. This policy sets out guidelines for all district volunteers. It includes a section that defines the clearances and certifications that are necessary to volunteer, such as those that are the Pennsylvania Child Abuse History Certification and the Pennsylvania State Police Criminal Record Information Clearance. It also discusses that volunteers shall be expected to maintain professional, moral, and ethical relationships with district students that are conducive to an effective and safe learning environment. Since these 4 policies are new, they will be listed on the district website under school board policies so that the public can have time to review them. The board will most likely vote on these policies at our next meeting, thereby giving the public 3 weeks to review the policies.
Are there any questions or comments?
I just would like to comment and let the board know that all 4 of these policies were also vetted by all of our administrators on our administrative team. They all had an opportunity not only to review the policies, but take time to make any recommendations in terms of revisions or clarifications. So the policies that you have are drafts, but they do incorporate any of those recommendations that administrators made or staff members. We did also give them to staff members as well, particularly guidance counselors, social workers, and psychologists, so that they could take a look at them as well. So I just wanted to let the board know that they've been through quite an intensive review already by a number of the professionals within the district community. Again, I'll repeat what Ms. Sarsfield already mentioned, which is these are a draft. It is a first reading, which gives everyone in the community the opportunity to review the policies, make any suggestions, recommendations, or make note of any clarifications that they might have.
And these are new policies, as I understand it. They're also coming from the Pennsylvania School Boards Association. So these are, again, vetted not just through our district, but also coming from Pennsylvania School Boards Association.
That's correct.
Can you review the procedure, I'm sorry. Can you review the procedure by which a community member, if they have a concern about the wording, or if they would go about addressing that, would they come to the board meeting and
No,
address it?
all they have to do is let me know.
Through an email?
Email
through
is
a-
fine.
Thank you.
If we have questions on the policy, do you want us to do that now or when the policies are presented? Either way? Okay, okay. So just a couple of questions. The first one is on the suicide awareness and prevention policy. And we've never had a suicide policy in the district at all?
That's correct. It's now being mandated by the state of Pennsylvania because there are numerous districts across the state that do not have an official policy. It doesn't mean, however, that districts such as ours haven't had a crisis response plan or action plans for addressing suicide, or that they haven't had their own internal procedures for suicide ideation or suicide prevention. Doesn't mean that districts haven't taken action in those areas. We've done quite a bit of work in all of those areas. But this is the first time the state has mandated not only a policy, but also that the state has professional development requirements now for all teachers that are in place.
Okay. And I have a question then on page 3 of 9. With regard to the professional development piece, why is it that we are only requiring professionals who serve students in grades 6 through 12 to participate in training? I guess my professional and personal opinion is that all of the individuals that work with kids from kindergarten through 12th grade should be having that training so that they can support kids, because it's not the threats that are, they're not threats that are just made by students of 6th grade.
This does not negate that possibility. This is the legal requirement in the state, which says that secondary teachers must be trained. It, however, does not preclude us from training not only our professional staff members at all levels, but also our support staff. This doesn't say that either, but we believe it's essential to also give the same training to our support staff. So our intention is to go above and beyond.
So if we're having that belief, wouldn't it be prudent then to put that in policy so that, you know, as there are changes in administration, if things happen going forward, that the district then sets forth what its expectations?
It's a great recommendation, and we certainly can do that.
Okay, okay. The next one would be for the community volunteers policy, actually. The requirements for the background check and tuberculosis test, do these mirror the state requirements, or do they go above and beyond them?
These mirror the state requirements.
Okay, all right, just making sure. The other would be on the transgender and gender nonconforming youth policy. I think it might, I know that there are some, the other policies mention authority, some of the laws and codes and things like that that give us the authority. Maybe we should mention the Township Code, which is a non-discrimination code, which also extends non-discrimination to individuals based on gender identity.
We'll actually be filling in that left-hand column with all of the relevant ones, but we, of course, don't typically put in the township one, but we can certainly do that as well.
right? Because there really aren't any. There's, the state of Pennsylvania does not have a non-discrimination, and neither does, the county doesn't have one, but our township does have one. And then the other question about this policy is with regard to the terminology used in it in terms of gender nonconforming. And I had kind of proposed that we consider the wording of that. And rather than look at gender nonconforming, even though that's an accepted term for individuals who don't necessarily express themselves as either male or female, it kind of continues the belief that gender is kind of an either or, a male or female kind of concept, which a lot of the research shows that it's a spectrum, and it's a continuum of gender expression, and so that there are individuals who don't claim either male or female and claim somewhere in between. So that's something we might consider in terms of looking at another term such as gender expansive to try to describe individuals that are covered through this policy.
Have there other policies that have been passed by other districts that we can look at to see maybe how it's referred to in those policies?
Yes.
I do agree with Karen that gender nonconforming sounds a little negative to me. So I would be interested to see if there's any other.
There actually are, and we have looked at those other policies, and they all do use this term.
They do, yes.
I have not seen gender expansive, but that doesn't mean, it's not out there.
Right.
And it's certainly something we can take a look at.
There is actually the GLSEN, which is the Gay and Lesbian Educators Support Network, I believe. Their model policy uses nonconforming, and I think that when that was developed, that was sort of the prevailing term. But as our knowledge is evolving about gender and gender identity and gender development, these kinds of, the terms are changing to try to reduce stigma as much as possible.
I think one of the recommendations that I would make is that we actually had a group from Philadelphia come in and do some training and professional development with our staff. It was organized by Dr. Johnston, so perhaps we can consult with them and get a better understanding of current terminologies and see what we believe might be more appropriate.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That's all I have.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, all right, we're going to move ahead. The administrative report.
Okay. Well, as the girls mentioned, we just came off a phenomenal weekend with some amazing performances in our school district musical, Damn Yankees. It was really a terrific event. It was a cast that just did an absolutely superb job. Everything from the choreography to the singing to the costuming to the fabulous sets. It just really was an amazing production. And I know that it was very sad for Marlene Thornton to say goodbye to a number of the seniors because this was a senior top-heavy year for Damn Yankees. But I also know from the middle school and their production of Into the Woods that they have some phenomenal and amazing talent for middle school students that will be going into the high school from their 8th graders. So Marlene really has nothing to worry about. She can train those kids coming up through the ranks. So I just wanted to thank, along with Dr. Rittenhouse, all of the staff members that were already mentioned that were involved with that production, because as I'm sure all of you are aware, it takes many, many months to be able to produce such a really incredible show. And thank the students and their families as well for the extreme amount of time and effort that they put into making it such a special event. The other thing that I wanted to mention was I had the good fortune to spend 2 days in Harrisburg with Mr. Sultanic, but it's not like what it sounds like. Yes. He and I were both selected. Yes. 1,000% professional. He and I both were selected to serve on a committee by the PSBA, the Pennsylvania State School Boards Association, that took a look at the new implementation of the Every Student Succeeds Act, which is now replacing No Child Left Behind, and also replacing a number of the previous mandates from No Child Left Behind, not the least of which, of course, is adequate yearly progress. So the purpose of the session that was sponsored by PSBA was to bring together not only professionals, including administrators, members of law firms representing school districts, but also school board members from across the state to really sit down and to examine a number of the issues about which there have been complaints over the past many years. I served on an assessment subcommittee, which was charged with making recommendations for changing assessments in the state of Pennsylvania, because now schools through ESSA will have incredibly more flexibility than they had in the past. Now remember, this is a PSBA group. I did not say it's a PDE, Pennsylvania Department of Education group. So while PSBA doesn't have the power to make those changes, they do and are able to make recommendations to BDE, and they are, of course, in the process of issuing a white paper. Jeff, I believe you served on the teacher evaluation group, if you don't mind saying a few words.
Yes, we spoke to the teacher evaluation and we addressed some of the inherent and very serious problems associated with Act 82 of 2012, which was allegedly created to make it easier for administrators to evaluate professional staff members, and indeed it created perhaps more impediments to the process than anything else, and we identified those areas. Now, recommendations ultimately are made not only to PDE, those are the easy recommendations. The more difficult recommendations need to be made to the state legislature, which is preoccupied with other issues that they can't address right now anyway. So it will be very interesting how ESSA evolves, not only from a regulatory basis, from a PDE perspective, but also from a legislative perspective to make changes that are really required in order to get a better sense of evaluation of our professional and administrative staff in the state.
And as far as our assessment group, one of the key recommendations that came out was rather than having high-stakes testing for our students, we recommended interim local assessments that could be given 3 times a year, 2 of which would be formative, so that, for example, if they were given in November and February, teachers not only would be able to locally score them, which would be permissible under the flexibility of the Act, but they also would be able to take the results, study the results that they get back in November, adjust their instruction accordingly, also target students for remediation, and have time to do that throughout the year. And that would remove, if those were not the summative testing, that would remove not only the extraordinary pressure and anxiety that students and their families feel, but also that teachers feel in terms of preparing for one summative assessment at the end of the year. So we're very hopeful that there will be changes made and that all of the outcry that there has been throughout the state in terms of the pressure that is behind standardized testing will be listened to. And it's very interesting, I was actually in several classes in the middle school, and students were preparing argumentative essays, and several of the students chose as their topic the topic of standardized testing and getting rid of it because of the pressure that they feel. So kudos to those students for recognizing it is a serious concern.
Packer, when do you think that timeline would be?
That's a great question, and one of the individuals who actually appeared, there actually were 2 people from the state, from PDE, who spoke. Pedro Rivera, the Secretary of Ed, was scheduled to speak, but unfortunately had another commitment. And from everything that we are hearing, fall of 2016, this fall, it's a very short timeline when things are supposed to be occurring. So wait and see. We'll see what happens.
No comment on the state budget. Okay, we're going to move on to new business now. Number 1, personnel attachment. The recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the following personnel as presented in the attachment: administrative personnel, certificated personnel, support personnel, temporary personnel, extra pay for extra responsibilities, conference workshop attendance. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman. Aye. Ms. Casalis. Aye. Mr. Lapidus. Aye. Ms. Nelson.
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield.
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye.
Mr. Taylor. Aye. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye.
I would just like to make one comment about one item on the agenda. It is with great sadness that you just approved the resignation of David McNeil, an instructional support individual who many of you don't know, but he's the gentleman sitting over there, who faithfully at every single board meeting tapes our meetings, handles, along with Bill Watson, all of our tech needs, and has done an absolutely phenomenal job. He helps us with assembly programs here at the high school. He's really done a fantastic job with tech support. So I just wanted you all to know who it is you approved a resignation for, because we're very upset about the prospect of Dave's moving on.
Did you find someplace better, or? There's no place better. No, that's why I'm asking.
Unfortunately, Dave's work is part-time, and he was able to get a full-time position, which will enable him to really utilize a lot of the many skills that he has. So Dave, we wish you a lot of luck.
Number 2, English Language Arts Program, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the adoption of the English Language Arts Program Journeys 2017 by, I always say this one wrong here, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt for grades 3, 4, and 5. Is there a motion? Motion. Is there a second? Second. Any questions or comments?
I have a question. Was this vetted through the curriculum committee? What was the
Academic affairs,
procedure?
yes. Yes, it was.
And what was the last time we adopted a language arts program for those grades? Has it been 3 years, 2 years?
It's been over a decade.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chapman. Aye. Ms. Casalis. Aye. Mr. Lapidus. Aye. Ms. Nelson.
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield.
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye.
Mr. Taylor. Aye. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Number 3, confidential settlement and release. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the confidential settlement and release for student 201-603-15-01. Is there a motion? Motion. Is there a second? Second. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman. Aye. Ms. Casalis. Aye. Mr. Lapidus. Aye. Ms. Nelson.
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield.
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye.
Mr. Taylor. Aye. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Number 4, approval of Act 80 service agreement. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the attached proposal for Burke 1 in the amount of $760 to complete the Act 80 filing of corrected school district code reports to the PA Department of Revenue. Attachment LL. Is there a motion? Motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Can I ask what Act 80 is?
So this is the required reporting on tax information that we send to the state of the residency code. So you're aware as a Pennsylvania resident that for certain official information, you have to put a residency code based on where you live. So you can imagine with all of our employees who live in lots of different municipalities, the research and the correcting and making sure that all of that information is accurate is extraordinarily time consuming. This company does that work for us
Okay.
and ensures it's accurate.
All right, thank you.
Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman. Aye. Ms. Casalis. Aye. Mr. Lapidus. Aye. Ms. Nelson.
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield.
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye.
Mr. Taylor. Aye. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Number 5, speech services, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the agreement between Abington Speech Pathology Services, Inc. and Springfield Township School District as per attachment MM. Is there a motion? Motion. Is there a second? Second. Any questions or comments?
Just one. Do we, by any chance, we do not use the speech pathology services of the IU for the district?
I don't believe we do. I mean, we do have in-house individuals as well, but these are additional services.
Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman? Aye. Ms. Casalis? Aye. Mr. Lapidus? Aye. Ms. Nelson? Aye. Ms. Sarsfield? Aye. Dr. Teretuski? Aye. Mr. Taylor? Aye. Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 6, policies first read, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the first reading of the following policies. A, Policy 253, transgender and gender nonconforming youth, attachment NN. B, Policy 819, suicide awareness, prevention and response, attachment 00. C, Policy 824, maintaining professional adult-student boundaries, attachment PP. D, Policy 916, volunteers, attachment QQ. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second? Second. Any questions or comments?
What are we voting on exactly? Are we voting that we approve these policies the way that they're currently written, or what are we voting on?
We're voting on releasing them for a first reading.
Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman? Aye. Ms. Casalis? Aye. Mr. Lapidus? Aye. Ms. Nelson? Aye. Ms. Sarsfield?
Aye.
Dr. Teretuski?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor? Aye. Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 7, memorandum of agreement, STEA, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the memorandum of agreement between the Springfield Township Education Association, STEA, and the School District of Springfield Township regarding additional payment to Mr. Andrew Puntel for the teaching of a high school course outside of his normal schedule for the 2015-2016 school year. Is there a motion? Motion. Is there a second? Second. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman? Aye. Ms. Casalis? Aye. Mr. Lapidus? Aye. Ms. Nelson?
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield?
Aye.
Dr. Teretuski?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor? Aye. Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Are there any public comments on non-agenda items? Future meeting dates. Interim board meeting, Tuesday, April 5th, 2016, 7 p.m., Freeze Memorial Lobby. School board meeting, Tuesday, April 19th, 2016, 7 p.m., Freeze Memorial Lobby. Board committees, Property Committee, Friday, April 1st, 2016, 8:15 a.m., Administration Building.
And I would just like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a happy spring break. It's hard to believe that spring break is here, but it begins next week. And I also want to wish those who celebrated a very Good Friday and a very happy Easter.
Thank you, and why did you have to remind me? Thanks, everyone. Have a good night. Motion to adjourn.